starting on some editing this morning because it is storming. My favorite. It just never ends. In the last 2 days, I have finished these 2 books from the library that are actually witchcraft. So I've got to drop these off. I was planning on it today, but it is still a blizzard outside, so not gonna go. I'm not gonna put yet another car that doesn't need to be there on the road, so we're just staying home today. But I have more that are ready to pick up. Not worth driving in the snow. It's supposed to start warming up after today, supposedly, so we'll see. But yeah, at least I got these 2 done, and I have one more to read, and I have a fiction book to read, so I got plenty of reading plus this whole stack that I gotta do. I also, I should update you on that. I did get about halfway through the book yesterday. I'm in chapter 8 out of 14, so we're making progress.
So I tried to record some videos, but the cold is getting a little much, and I keep having coughing fits, so we're gonna move on to editing. I now have a tea today, and we're gonna get through 9 through 12 today. So let's get on it. Chapter 9 is now done. Went from 1425 to 2186. And it's also at this point that, like, again, I have to stop the inner critic and, like, the imposter of, like, is this even a good story? Is this something I should write? Like, just gotta put it on the back burner, remind myself. Like, I do have some TikToks saved specifically for how bad other books are on the, like, existence. And it's just sometimes you gotta remind yourself, like, there are some really bad books out there. I don't think this one's on that same category. Is it probably the best thing? No. Is it the worst thing? Also no. And I have to, like, still remind myself that. And, like, there's a reason that I don't think I could stay, like, there's a reason I shouldn't stay on a book for terribly long, because inevitably these thoughts kick in, and I need to get it done before I get to this point. But, like, hopefully, like, I want to have this one done by June, and then what I want to do is just spend, like, 4 months per book and then get 3 books published a year. I think that is a realistic goal, and that way I spend some time on them. I've kind of got a system down at this point, and I know roughly how many chapters I can write a day and edit, sort of. Again, aiming at about 4 chapters a day is going really well, and then just be done with them and move on before I can get 2 in my head. Because again, I've been working on this since, like, November, like, this book, so I feel like that's too long in the brain. It needs to get out faster than that, and I think now I've gotten a little bit more discipline on the writing side of things, and I think it'll happen with the next book I write. But anyways, chapter 9's done. Let's move on to 10. I think I talked about this last time, how I have to rearrange chapters because the events that I have happening in the 2 different temps that I wrote do not go in order. Because suddenly one character will be in one place doing one thing, and then the character will be in a different place at a different time because the chapters were supposed to line up. And then I added chapters in between, and now suddenly that doesn't work. So once again, I have to change. So now 9 is going to become 10, and 10 is going to become 9. Love my life. This is great. Bonus points. I just remembered that I didn't change the character's name in the last chapter, so now I gotta go do that too. Sometimes this part takes the longest.
Like, just to give you context, I have to fix it 53 times in this chapter.
The outfit change. It is still the same day. My dad just called, and so I was talking to him for a bit, and finished up the previous chapter, and yeah, then I decided I was freezing, so I have the heater running, and I got a sweatshirt on. But what became chapter 9, that was chapter 10, because we had to switcheroo. That one was 2143. It is now 2474. So we're making some progress, and I still have 2 more chapters to go. It's 2:30 in the afternoon, but I also want to make sure I get my step count, so I think I'm going to focus on that for a minute, which also might get me a little bit warmed up, because I am just so cold. So gonna work on that, and then we'll see, because being sick it makes it rough. It makes doing this kind of stuff a lot harder than you would think. Like, every single task is just like at least 10 more spoons required, because you're like, oh my god, I just want to sleep, and then you can't because you have to still do your job. So anyways, onwards to chapter 11. I will see you guys after we get
Also,
that done.
for context, this is where we're at for the footsteps right now. I need to fix that.
Some days I feel a little dyslexic. So I fixed up chapter 11, and then I went to check my word count afterwards, and I was like, oh my god, because I changed quite a bit and I deleted stuff and rearranged it, and I was like, oh my god, it's like the same. I ended up with one word less. I knew it would happen. And then I realized that, like, I just had a dyslexic moment and just read the numbers completely wrong because it started at 1,154, so 1154. And then I looked at the next number where we ended, and my brain autocorrected it to 1143. And I'm like, well, it's like the same numbers. It's like basically the same, but it's not. And I think it's because it has a repeat number in there, because it's 154 and then it's 1543. So yeah, I added a lot of words. It's now 1543, but I just had a moment where, like, the brain just, like, checked out. And, like, seriously, I read that as I was like, oh, autocorrect brain was like, yeah, no, it ended in a 4, now it ends in a 3, therefore you did not write the same amount of words. And I'm like, okay, sure, brain. So anyways, got this chapter done. It is 3, so gonna work on getting some steps in, and then work on chapter 12, and then we will be done for the day.
Steps kind of achieved. Got to 5,000. I'd like to be further ahead at this point in the day, but as you can tell, the cold is kicking and breathing is a challenge.
I decided to just make my life easy and just start chapter 12 by looking, like, control find the character's name that I have to change and just make my life easier. So I only have 21 of them that I have to go change, and then I don't have to worry about it as I go through and be like, did I edit that? So that's step 1 for this journey of editing. I need to just plan to do that every time. Chapter 12 is done. So it went from 1,161 words to 1,668. So a nice little bump. And it is so weird to actually, like, read this in order this time. And, like, sometimes it's nice when the timeline actually just works in my favor. And so this time I didn't have to arrange stuff. It just actually flowed like it needed to. And so I'm still, like, wondering if, like, I need to, like, bring other chapters in at this point and, like, move where I initially had Lorenzo, have him showing up earlier. But I feel like that's, like, too many timelines to be keeping track of. I think he's still gotta wait, because crap is still going down. But, like, it's just one of those where you're, like, hinting at things that are gonna happen, and then, I don't know, it's fun trying to edit, especially now sick. Like, this puts such a damper on existing, because being sick, like, that's why I ended up taking some time off from March, because I was sick, and I'm like, it's fine, I'll just come back to it when I'm feeling better, give me a break from it anyways. And then here we are, beginning of April, and yet again, I am sick. But I don't feel as bad today yet, so I am going to go try and get the last of my steps done. We'll see if I can do that, and then this will be it for the writing side of things, but I do want to hit 10K today. That is one of my goals. I do want to make sure I get my steps in like I need to, even when I feel like crap. And honestly, spacing it out throughout the day really does help, so let's go do some steps. Finishing off this video with a voiceover, our dog got her little frozen ice cream cup, and she was adorable, so I thought you needed to see that too. And then I finished off getting my 10K steps. I ended up walking to a Pokemon episode, and it worked great.